What's up, y'all? You're watching Brooklyn Shuffleboard, and we are out here on a busy Friday night at the Royal Palm Shuffleboard Club in Brooklyn, New York, for a singles league match between Mike and Eric. We're kind of nearing the middle point, maybe end point of our spring singles league. We have 64 of the best players in Brooklyn in a 8-week league type format thing, 8 groups of 8. The top half of each group goes on to a single elimination bracket. And I've been recording some of these matches, partly to try to capture some of the really great action we've been seeing, and partly to create a resource for some of the newer players in our team league to learn about shuffleboard, get better about shuffleboard. We have some players like the ones you're seeing on the court that have been playing for 9 years, and if you're a new player in Brooklyn and you're up against one of these guys, it is going to be a tough round of shuffleboard for you. So the thought being, create some shuffleboard content, new and intermediate players get better, and they eventually surpass the people like me who have been obsessed with shuffleboard for 9 years. So a little bit on the format. We're playing 16-frame games. Mike is taking his warm-up shots right now. Eric already took his when Mike was at the bar. 16-frame games. They switch colors halfway, and they'll do another round of warm-up shots. I'll go through a little bit at the halfway point, really how to optimize those warm-up shots. But one thing I'll talk about quickly right now is that we're on Court 3. I know from experience playing Court 3 is unpredictable. Some of the courts we have drift entirely in one direction, some drift kind of in one direction in some places, in another direction in some places. Court 3 is just a mystery. It's like a whole rectangle of peaks and valleys, and you never know if your disc is going to curve left, curve right, slow down, speed up. Every match we've recorded on here has been a little bit of a wild one. As you can see, that disc just curved straight left. So I'm thinking this should be a really interesting match. Also, this is the end of our group play, and Mike is currently undefeated. Eric also currently undefeated. Mike is 6-0, Eric's 5-0. So if Mike wins this, he gets the 1 seed, and he goes undefeated. Mike's starting on yellow right now. Eric, if he beats Mike, he'll likely end up with the 1 seed himself. So they're both kind of playing for some undefeated bragging rights, and they're also kind of playing for, hopefully an easier first-round matchup in our elimination bracket. All right, we are underway. So Mike throws up a really nice St. Pete, and Eric with a soft, gentle clear. Right now, with the hammer, it's 0-0 first frame. Eric is really just trying to keep the board clear and score his hammer. However, a shot like that, where Mike is trying to shoot it on the left side of the board, put up what we call a tampa just to the left of the tip of the 10, it drifted to the right, and it gave Eric a hide opportunity that he goes for but misses. Yeah, that shot from Mike definitely curved to our right and ended up being a really nice tampa for Eric. If he were to have put an 8 on the board close to the center line, that would have been really well hidden, but instead his disc curves to our left and he clipped the block. All right, Mike with another St. Pete. Eric with a harder clear, gets it clear. And Mike for the last shot before Eric's hammer. This is the million-dollar question. It's what do you do with this shot? Some people just like to block up the board. Some people go for a 10, thinking it's hard to replace. Let's see what he goes for here. Looks like he's going for the 10, and he gets it. Yeah, that is a deep 10. So most people want to get the high 10, where the opponent's disc can't fit in front of it. That's a deep 10, so Eric could potentially kitchen and score the 10 here. Looks pretty nice. Gets the 10. And misses the kitchen, but that is not an easy shot. That is a 10-point score for black, but just sort of not really knowing what the drift is because you just started the match. To make that 10 clear and replace is not an easy shot, and Eric showing his experience just calmly, coolly, and collectively clears and replaces it and goes up 10-0 after 1. Yeah, bud. Hold on a sec. Yo. All right. I was trying to tell my man about Brooklyn Shuffleboard YouTube channel. All right, Eric shows up at St. Pete. And Mike's going to try to clear it. Yeah, Brooklyn Shuffleboard on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The whole league?
Yeah. Well, our normal team league is super fun, but we also have a self-organized singles league. And these people are there's real money on the line.
Damn.
And it's a lot of fun. Check it out. There's a G on the line for the winner, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So check it out, Brooklyn Shuffleboard. All right, I had to promote the channel a little bit. Sorry for the for the interruption in the commentary. Yeah, Eric puts up a beautiful Tampa. Mike clears it. We didn't really miss much, except for some really nice clearing from Mike. So these are like two of the best players, as I talked about. I mean, they're undefeated, right? But even beyond that, they are both champions. Mike's team has won the league championship 3 times. Eric's team has won twice. Eric's team recently kind of split up a little bit because of some travel, and Eric's been like a hired gun in the playoffs, and the last 2 teams he's subbed for in our playoffs have both won championships. So they're both like incredible players. Mike has won a national doubles tournament in Chicago, beating Earl Ball, who like the best drink at the Royal Palms is named after, and Jonathan Schnapp, the person that owns this whole place. So like these people are legit shuffleboard players. And yeah, it's gonna be I anticipate a really close match. All right, Mike going down the left here with that weird drift and compensates perfectly for it with a good 7 for yellow. That was really nice shot for my man Mike. So yeah, both really amazing players. Different styles though, you know. Like Eric, he wants a lot of discs on the board. He wants to sort of like out finesse his opponent. He wants those frames where it's his hammer and he scores 2 discs. Mike is kind of the opposite. He is more of a traditional like keep the board clear, score your hammer type player. However, what I've noticed with Mike, as Eric's disc doesn't make the lag line, what I've noticed from Mike is that he's kind of like a chameleon a little bit, where he tends to copy the play style of his opponent. So when he plays someone like me, who's also a clear and score hammer player, he plays super risk averse and like just clearing everything. But when he plays someone like Paul Assad, who's like on the board all the time, he's like, oh yeah, you think you're better at kitchening than me? I'm better than kitchening than you. So it's sort of like going to be kind of interesting to see how this match plays out, if it plays out according to Mike's kind of game plan or plays out a little bit more like Eric's game plan. So that was a cool move by Eric. They call that filling in, where Mike put that yellow disc there hoping to hide behind it, and Eric just sort of blocked the path Mike would need to hide behind that yellow disc. And Mike keeps it clear, opening that channel back up. And then I think Eric's probably going to do the same thing. The only risk is with the drift being kind of wonky in the front, you never know what it's going to do. I mean, that's pretty nasty. That's like right in the way, forcing Mike to clear again. Yeah, I think he's going to, same thing, just hard, straight, really nice clearing. Clearing itself also isn't really hard. I mean, isn't really easy to do. And it's like, especially on these courts where they don't put beads down, the whole court's slow. So to see Mike clearing nicely is really good to see. Really encouraging at the start here. All right, so Eric going for the 10 there, overshoots it, and he gives Mike a backstop if he wants it. I wouldn't take that bait. I would just make an easy 8 on the left or the right. And it looks like that's what he's thinking. Oh, no, he gives it a bump. Oh, man. So he wanted to go for that backstop, and he wanted to bump that black disc on the 8-8 line and scored the 10, which is kind of risky because of exactly like that. If you miss a tiny bit because of the drift, then you end up with 10 for yellow and 7 for your opponent. I kind of want to talk to him after the match. I'm curious if he was going for that 10, because that disc looked like it hooked with a serious amount of curve right after he released it. And he had 8 speed on it, like the speed to make an 8. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was going for an 8 and he missed so badly it hit the 10. But it could have been either. All right, 4th frame. I did not add that correctly. 4th frame at 17 yellow, 7 black. Thank you, Nick, for pointing that out. Yeah, so Mikey's up 10. And yeah. Oh, wait, no, I didn't add that either. I didn't add that right either. It's 17-18. Oh, man, I'm a mess right now. Blame it on the arrow balls. All right, 17 yellow, 18 black. And Mike still has a bit of the advantage here. No. Eric still has the advantage. He's only up 1, but he has this extra hammer. Mike's had 2 frames with the hammer. Eric's had 1 so far. And this frame is playing out just like the reverse of the last frame, where Mike is filling in. Eric with, oh, man. That was incredibly close. That was a really, really nice shot. It looks like it curved right on the center line, but like, come on, that was really nice. Almost got that 7 hidden behind that yellow disc. And now Mike has a tough choice to make. That's sort of what I was talking about earlier. Eric wants this on the board, even with this hammer. So Mike's probably going to bump his own yellow in here. Oh, no, he's just blocking up. So that, I don't love that strategy. He blocks up Eric's ability to split that 8-1, but he kind of gave Eric a line down the right side where Eric can hide behind a Tampa. You know what I mean? Like, that yellow disc on the right is a perfect Tampa for Eric. So he could score a 7 or an 8 kind of close to the center line. It'll be perfectly hit him. And Eric doesn't really want to go for it. He's clearing up the lane. It's interesting. I don't really love that either. I think we're trying to play aggressive, go for that Tampa hide. And instead, Mike has a choice, either block up the board or bump that yellow one in. He is going for a block of the board. Ooh, 8 on the left. Nice. That's a pretty high 8. I don't know if black can fit the disc in front of it. This is going to be a really hard hammer for Eric. Releases it soft. Oh, that's so pretty. That is so pretty. I love it. Amazing, amazing shot from Eric. Just gives that yellow a tiny little bump. Nails the 8 perfectly. I'm going to do better math. And we are going into the 5th frame. 17 yellow, 26 black. That was a really, really amazing shot from Eric. That was interesting. That was an interesting frame because they all kind of like had opportunities to do big things. Like if Mike were to bump that yellow one on the right in. But then Eric maybe could have split that 8 into 2 scores. So they ended up with just like the same result as just keeping it clear and scoring the hammer. But kind of an interesting series of choices that they had to make throughout that frame to get there. All right, Eric with a soft clear, and he gives Mike a perfect Tampa high behind. So yeah, perfect St. Pete placement is between the tip of the 10 and the side of the board on your opponent's side. Perfect Tampa placement is on your own side of the board, just to the left or right of the tip of the 10. So that black disc kind of leaves this whole area open where that printed number 8 is on the left, where if yellow put a disc there, it'd be perfectly hidden. Mikey with the score, and it wasn't hidden well enough. And Eric tried to kitchen it, came up a little long. But Mike gets a second try at really getting it on that number 8 that he's going for. Coming a little hard and a little too hard on the 7 kitchen line, so no score. So now Eric with the hammer, you got to think he's probably going to try to clear that blackout up front. Remove the opportunity for Tampa hides. That's not what he's doing. Interesting. All right, he blocks the lane down the left. But I don't really love that either because Mike can just block the right side of the board, and then Eric has a really hard hammer. So we'll see. Mike not... Yeah, that's pretty nice. So the whole board's blocked. Eric... Oh, I see. Eric is thinking maybe he can get to that yellow disc that's on the 7 kitchen line. No, he's not going for that. Yeah, see, now he has to make a really hard bump, whereas if he just cleared that black one up top... Oh, but Eric's so good. He is so good. That is what I thought was a hard shot is an easy shot. Routine even for Eric pop-up. Really, really nice 7. And Eric is taking a nice little lead here, converting on his hammer 2 frames in a row. Wow, that was really, really nice. So it's 17 yellow, 33 black. Yeah, Eric's up 16. But that 16-point lead's a little misleading because we're in the sort of like reaching the end of the first set of 8 frames. And Mike has 2 hammers left in these 8 frames, and Eric only has 1. So what looks like a 16-point lead, if Mike just keeps it clear and scores the hammer, it's really only an 8 lead because Mike has that extra hammer. So it's not really desperation time yet for Mike. And I feel like he's the kind of player that will realize that. Ooh, but he misses that. Yeah, keeping it clear like he had planned, but he misses it to the right and now gives Eric a hide opportunity, even though to hide he'd have to get it really far to the left. And I think because that black disc is so far left, Eric's just going to put up a better block, yeah. That's really nice, though. Eric's plan now is just to block the board up. Mike's plan is to keep it clear. Oh, wow. Really nice clear. Was able to get both of them. That's pretty dope. And then Eric with another block opportunity here. Puts up a perfect St. Pete. Mike kind of has an interesting choice here, too. I mean, I would keep it clear because as I said, he has 2 hammers left, and Eric only has 1 before they switch. But if he wants, he could have bumped his own in down the alley. But yeah, that's not the right shot. The right shot's keep it clear, try to get this hammer, and grind your way back in this game. All right, Eric not able to get it into the 10, and he leaves Mike. I mean, the left side's blocked off, but that left side's unpredictable. So Mike kind of wanted to shoot on the right side anyway. And he releases it. It looks pretty good. It's a very nice 7. Really, really nice hammy from Mike. And we are at 24-33 with going into the 7th frame. So 2 frames left. They switch colors, and then they do another 8. Yeah, this has been a close one. I mean, Mike, as I said, keeps it clear, scores his hammer. He's only down 1, even though Eric has that extra hammer. But he's in pretty good shape. All right, Eric with a really nice Tampa. So I was talking before about Tampa placement. That is probably as perfect as it gets, really. It's just a little bit short of the tip of the 10. It's to the right of the board. So Mike can't hide any discs that Eric can't get to. But if Mike were to have stuck it, Eric could have hit a bunch of really, really nice, some nasty hides. We haven't really seen a lot of nasty hides yet. I'm a little bit disappointed in that. But that's mainly because of Mike's really good clearing. That's the other thing, too, about playing someone like Mike, from my perspective, where I kind of rely in my game that someone sticks some clears, give me some hide opportunities. And Mike is just so good at clearing that he kind of doesn't let me do the thing I'm best at. And, oh, Mike's going down the alley here. Interesting. Gets it. I don't know if that's not really hidden, but that is like, that's aggressive. Because they both could technically hide behind that black disc. So that's pretty aggressive. Also, it's not really hidden. So Eric can kitchen it, and he went for it once before. Goes for the kitchen, and oh! That is not kitchen. It comes up short. But I can't tell if that 7's in or not. They're gonna take a look at it. That is both in. Eric leaves Mike in. I mean, that's sort of a mistake, but it's not one that really costs him all that much, because there's really no way for Mike to knock that black disc out without knocking his own out, and maybe knocking his own into the kitchen. So instead, Mike, oh baby, we're getting interesting over here. Puts up another 7. It's getting weird. And Eric doesn't know what to do. He's thinking about just straight up hiding behind that black from the 4 spot. That's where he's landing. Or he might power that yellow. Let's see. No, he's going for the finesse. Will it get there? That is nasty. Really nasty hide. All right, we called it. I talked in the beginning of this frame about no nasty hides. That is a nasty hide. So now Mike, with the hammer, is kind of like down 1 point already, because Eric has that hidden 8. Yeah, Mike goes for the 8. Come on, get it. Nice shot. So that is a wild frame that, even though Mike scored an 8, he really only gained 1 point. He really only gained 7 points, because it was 15-22. 15 yellow scored, 22 black scored. No. 22 yellow scored, 15 black scored. So let me do this math real quick. 46. 15 black is 48. So let's see if I got this math right. Mikey should be down 2. They're also writing extremely faintly on the board, which you got to believe I'm going to talk to them about as we switch colors here. As someone who messed up the math in frame 2, every single frame I'm worried that I've been having this math wrong the entire time. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I think we're doing great right now. So yeah, going into the 8th frame, Mike's down 2, without the hammer, and he's just gonna try to like steal a hammer here, and go into the color change only down 2. Even if he goes into the color change down 10, it's not the end of the world. If you're a fan of the channel, you'll have seen other videos where I talk about this court and how yellow is so much harder to play on than black, because the drift is just really unpredictable on the yellow side. So there is a sense of, if you're starting off on yellow, being content with being down 10 because all the weird stuff you had to go through in the first half, courts disc drifting left, right, you don't know exactly where it's going to go. That is what your opponent's going to have to deal with after you change colors. Oh, Eric, really nice. So he cleared that and knocked it into a Tampa, but this frame's almost over. So it's not like he can hide behind that because the frame's almost over. So if I'm Mike, you either choose a side to block and just block it, or you kind of go on the board on the left side and hope that that black disc up front causes some sort of unpredictable issue. Oh, that's nasty. Let's go! That's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, he could see it, but can he score on it? Definitely not. Let's go. And he whiffs it left. And it carries. Wow. 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 That is a 10-point yellow score on Black's hammer. That is absolutely insane. That is completely bonkers. This has been a ridiculous match. So, yeah, Mike up 8 after the first 8 frames. That was a brutal frame for Eric. And it kind of comes down to, like, for me, it kind of comes down to the clearing speed. You know, like, I know not everyone can clear hard accurately, but our courts are so slow here that I feel like you kind of have to clear hard in order to make sure it's clear. Because Eric didn't even mess that clear up that badly. Like, if that was earlier in the frame, that would have been a perfect Tampa for himself. But because it was the end of the frame, it was, like, just enough where it blocked part of the disc. Mike didn't even have a hide. He just put a score on that Eric could see, but he couldn't see it straight on. He had to aim left, more to the left of what he normally would have aimed at. And instead the drift took over and it curved way left. Oh, man. So, yeah, for me, if you ever watch me play, I mean, yeah, check out the last episode. You watch me play. I clear really hard, and I spend a lot of time making sure that my form is consistent as I clear hard. 9 years of shuffleboard, I've realized that consistency in your, like, shooting mechanics is incredibly, incredibly important. All right, I'm going to just ask Eric a quick question over here. So, Papa, you're down 8? Yeah. All right, got it. All right, I got the score right. You're not writing very dark. Or Mike, thank you, bud. All right. Yeah, so Eric just said in a brief conversation as he goes to the bar, he's like, a lot of points. Maybe he's not used to, like, games with this many points. I can see that being the case because a lot of us play that keep a clear score hammer match mentality. All right, let's talk about practice shots a little bit. So practice shots are one of the most important things in shuffleboard. In shuffleboard, the rectangle is not perfectly flat, as I mentioned in the beginning. There are all these, like, peaks and valleys. It's kind of similar to putting where there is some sort of curvature. In putting, you can look at it and you kind of guess how much over you need to aim to get the ball in the hole. In shuffleboard, you can't see it, but you get practice shots. So every shot throughout the whole match, you are trying to learn information about the court. It starts with the practice shots, but it continues throughout the match. And what I mean by learn information, you're saying to yourself, I aimed at that 8, and did it go on that 8, or did it go 2 inches to the right of that 8? Or did it go 2 inches to the left of where I was aiming? You need a defined aiming point, which our courts make kind of easy because they have numbers and stuff on them and like little like scuff marks. But when you're trying to make a shot, you need to be staring at one singular point on the court. And then you see where the disc ends up. Granted, if you're not accurate, like if you're just starting out, it doesn't really work. But intermediate players are, like, pretty accurate at the palms. So pretty much everyone who's playing, you should be staring at one singular point and see where the disc goes versus where your aiming point was. That starts with the practice shots, but it continues throughout the whole match. For me, the way I'm using my practice shots, I want to have confidence that if my opponent is not able to clear a same peep, I can hide behind it. So one of my favorite practice shots, I actually spend 2 of my 4 discs doing that because we only get 4 practice shots here at the Palms, is shooting from the outside, cross court, aiming at an 8. And that's one of them. The other one is shooting down the right side from the outside, trying to potentially hide behind a Tampa, like exactly what Mike is doing. And I'll watch the disc, where I was aiming and where it ended up. That one looked like it curved to the left a little bit. Another one is assuming that my opponent shoots a 10 which we saw these players do, trying to shoot at the 10 at kind of like kitchen speed and see if I'm just trying to get their 10 out and score, how much over to the right or left do I need to aim from where I want it to go. And then what I do, I use my fourth one to like end up hiding behind St. Pete again, like going for an 8. Because not only are you trying to get a sense of the curvature of the court, you're also trying to get a sense of the speed. And it's really about that muscle memory. It's really about that muscle memory to know who is... Sorry, I got people talking to me. It's all about that muscle memory to know on a given day how hard you have to shoot it to make an 8 or a 7. And the speed of the court's different every single day. They wax the disc before we play. There's like different amounts of wax on them on the disc. You're supposed to buff them afterwards. How well are the discs buffed? The Royal Palms doesn't really buff them. Also the humidity here. Like there's so many different factors. The chips on the bottom of the disc. There's so many different factors that go into how fast the discs are going to be on a day. So like using your warm-up shots to figure that out as Mike makes like the nastiest of Tampa hides. That wasn't even like an amazing Tampa, and he hit it perfectly. And Eric just going to bump. Oh, that's cool. I like that. He didn't get it, but like rather than just clearing that block out to try to bump it into points and maybe get a score and also open up the lane for the black. I don't really see a lot of people go for that. That's actually like a pretty sweet shot. I might start trying to do that on friendly matches. That's pretty cool, because normally I would just like blast that and say, all right, block it perfectly again. And like exactly what Mike just did there. But that kind of like bump into points is kind of an interesting approach. Anyway, practice shots, learning the court, learning the speed on a given day, and if there's any speed differences between the discs, trying to figure that out as well. Oh, wow. I don't know if that's what he's going for, but that's definitely what he got. And he got a 7 and a kitchen. And this sort of like, wow, this frame is kind of flipped around. Mike has a choice here. He could block that 7 up, or he can try to clear that kitchen. If he doesn't clear that kitchen, then, I mean, if he does go for the kitchen clear, which is very makeable, it's all the way to the right, then Eric has like a straight line at that 7 and can kitchen it again, or kitchen it, and score what is going to be a high 7. So he either blocks the 7, the black 7, and see what Eric does, or he clears the kitchen out. I'm not really sure what's right. Or, I mean, the one thing he just looks like he's lining up for is knocking the yellow disc up front into the kitchen. But that's like a hero shot. That's just so random that it's not the right move. And, oh, baby. Yeah, there we go. One I didn't consider. Make an even nastier hide behind that yellow and get that 8. So now Eric goes for that 7 that I was talking about. It comes up a little short. Kitchen. Oh, doesn't get the kitchen. I can't tell if that's 3 or not. I mean, if he gets it, yeah, all right. So that's 3. So Mike really played this frame well because he has. I mean, he can. This is hard. He can't score on that yellow, but if he threads the needle, he could like get it, knock the yellow 7 into the kitchen, or clear his own out. But that's also a risky shot. But you might want to just go for it. Or he could make the easy open court on the left. I mean, he's up 8 right now. So I guess the smart shot is probably just score it on the left and 8. Does it get there? Oh, I don't know either. That's good. All right, it's good. Wild frame. So Eric plays it nicely. 7 yellow and 6 black. That was 4, right? 7 yellow and 6 black. Wow. 7 yellow. So that's 55, and 6 black, 62. I just heard a commentator that said that's a fun blanking frame. That was a fun frame. I mean, Eric with that one kitchen shot really like changed the dynamic of it, and he stole the hammer and gained a point on it. Instead of being down 6, Eric is only down 7, and that was Mike's hammer. So he's down 7, and Eric has an extra hammer. This game is like practically tied. I mean, I get why Mike wouldn't try to drill that high 7 on the right into the kitchen, because if you miss left and knock your own, you're real screwed. And instead, he wanted to minimize the damage. Oh, here we go. Eric with a missed clear. And this is like a little bit of Mike's bread and butter, too, is getting those nasty hides when your opponent... Mike's bread and butter is like clearing better and hiding better. Or clearing better and having more opportunities to hide. I'm not calling that hide nasty because Eric can see it on the right. But it's pretty good. And this drift might get the best of him. Yeah, the drift definitely gets the best of him. There's 2 on, I think. Eric's going to look at the 7, the yellow. That's 2, yeah. So, Mike, for me, I'm probably trying to clear and replace. Because if I don't replace... Oh, he's going for the kitchen. Oh, so that's 3 on. I don't love that. Because now Eric can go down the alley. And if he just cleared and replaced, he would have had 2 dis on versus 0. All right, and that's... I don't know, is that hidden? That's like half hidden for Mike from the outside. He could see it. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Mike, you got to go for it, or you just make a hide. I think he just goes for the hide, and he gets it really nicely. That was perfect. So Eric with the hammer has a complicated board, but really all he should do is just score the open hammer. And that's what he goes for, and he gets it. So nice. All right, so that's... They're making me do so much math here. That's 21 yellow, 14 black. 21 yellow, 76, and 14 black, 76. Oh yeah, that makes sense. He was down 7. Yeah. What I kind of do in my own head when I play is I just like really keep track of the point differential, because we don't have a 75-point limit. Some places where they play, they have a 75-point limit for singles games. The idea is like the game gets kind of interesting toward the end because you're trying to stop your opponent from getting to 75. We like to switch. We like 16 frames where you switch colors so you get equal number of frames on the good color and the bad color. I think it's a better format. But yeah, this is a really high-scoring game that is tied at 76-76. And then Mike just sort of putting up St. Pete. Now he puts up a Tampa. Pretty nice Tampa, a little deeper than he wanted, but definitely good. And Eric sticks to clear. I mean, that's kind of a bit of a 50-50 because Eric can hide an 8 behind that, and Mike can hide an 8 behind that, and they'd both be hidden. Oh, wow, that is nasty. Nasty hide from Mike. Yeah, that's good. That's a very deep 7, but that is good. Eric can maybe see the edge of it, but I'm calling that nasty. Eric could also hide an 8, too. But I think going for this black one is probably the right move. Oh, wow, he goes for the bump. Almost gets it. So that's 2. And if I'm Mike, I think it's time to go. I mean, he's thinking just block it up. That's why he's starting his disc at the 1 spot, all the way in the center of the board. But there is a way of like knocking Eric's out and having 2 black discs hidden behind that yellow that is like almost irresistible to me. Mike doesn't want it. He wants to put a high 8 on the left, and that is a really, really nice high 8. Wow. So all Eric can do is try to kitchen it. He can't fit his disc there. Maybe coming up soft? Oh, a little soft. So doesn't get it. And Mike steals Eric's hammer with the high 8. Yeah. He had the line like straight on, just need a little bit more power. And Eric does not gain points on his hammer. The score is still even. But Mike has an extra hammer here. Those 2 7s, right? Yeah, score's still even. Eric doing an incredible job of writing more firmly on the chalkboard, which I appreciate. And yeah, Mike's a little bit in the driver's seat. Blast everything, score your hammer, and you will have 4 frames left where you're up. Yeah, it's fun thinking about player strategies, because that shot that Mike didn't go for when he made that, he just like went for the high 8 on the left. He could have knocked Eric's out. Oh, as Mike kind of like doesn't keep it clear and gives Eric a Tampa. He could have like knocked Eric's 7 into the kitchen or just scored 2 7s behind the blocker. And you know that's what someone like Paul Assad would do. But everyone has like a different path to victory. Everyone has a different strategy. Everyone kind of, when determining your shot selection, you should be thinking about the upside risk if you get it and the downside risk if you miss it. And the upside risk for Mike to like clear and replace that 7 was 100% there. But the downside risk if he messed it up was huge if he knocked his own out. So it's just all about, like, as an appearance from Myron. Hell yeah. Yeah. Do a little dance move, bud. All right, he's getting out of the way. Yeah, everyone's on the clock. So you're just trying to calculate like the upside risk if you get the hard shot versus the downside risk if you miss it, and trying to choose your shot selection based on that. And Mike wanted to just avoid the risk a little bit. Ooh, Eric goes for the kitchen, comes up short, but gets a really nice snuggle. Yeah, it's just like one of those things where aggressive sometimes works and it sometimes doesn't. And Mike's strategy is a little bit similar to mine, where you're thinking, I just want to like grind out this win. I don't want to go down huge. Ooh, that was an interesting little curve on the court there. So this is open, and if Eric gets it, it could be hidden. Oh, gets the bump, maybe gets the kitchen. Oh, baby, let's see it. Is that 4? That's in there. Wow. So we're at 14 yellow, -2 black right now before the hammer. He's lining up quick. Shoots it hard and gets it. Let's go. Wow. That was nice. Normally when you see someone line up quick, they ain't getting it, and that was nasty. Wow. I love it, man. That was a huge frame. Huge frame. This whole match was tight. This whole match was tight from frame 5, basically. And now it is a little bit less tight. That was incredible. What a shot. I mean, those discs were lined up where he didn't really have to finesse it at all. So, like, yeah, that's obviously the right shot. Is just kind of like hit it hard. And the way those two discs were lined up, it was gonna happen. Wow. All right, so 4 frames left, and we're at 73 yellow, 91 for black. And black has the hammer here. Even number hammers left, though. And you can see Eric going on the board, not throwing up St. Pete's. His thinking is he only has 2 hammers left, as does Mike. If he scores 2 8s, he's like not getting in this game. If he scores 2 8s, that's 16. He'll have 89. So he'll be down even if he just scores 2 8s. As Mike with an unfortunate whiff. So Eric is thinking, like, I got to go on the board. I need to score 2 discs with one of these hammers in order to get back in it. So he goes on the board, and just like that, Mike whiffs on the first one. So Eric there with a really nice block. Oh, actually, not a great block, but he gets a little lucky and scores that 10. So there are 2 discs on there. And Mike is probably going to try to combo that first one into the second one. Shoots it hard, gets the combo, let's go, and ends up with a 10 of his own. But that 10 of his own he's probably not thrilled with because Eric is like in kitchen mode. That's why he went on the board in the first place. So Eric's going to try to kitchen this. Misses to the right a little bit. All right, not too much of a mistake. And yeah, Mike with the hammer here. He's probably just going to clear this yellow, I imagine. Oh, he's throwing off. Oh, he's clearing his own. All right, that's cool. I like it. That's fun. I don't think yeah. I mean, I guess Eric. If I'm Eric, yeah, I'm trying to hype on this yellow. Let's do it, baby. Yeah. Tell Mike he cleared the wrong one. Oh, he doesn't want that. All right, he's going to go for the high 8 or the high 10. Try to make Mike's hammer hard. Get there. Gets a pretty high 10. Yeah. So Mike really doesn't have a lot of wiggle room. He needs to hit this directly straight on to get it to stick. Maybe even a tiny bit to the left to straight on. This is a really hard one. Going for kitchen speed plus and doesn't get the 10. So that, I was thinking Eric should have scored a 7 on the right to try to hide by that yellow disc. Eric maybe more smartly realized that to hide that perfectly would be really hard. And then he put up a 10. Clearing or replacing a 10 is really hard. And successfully steals the hammer with that 10. So we're still at 73-91 here. That is an 18-point game for those that don't know how to do math. And 18-point game, but Eric has 2 hammers left and Mike only has 1. So Eric needs to make up. Still probably going to go on the board and play the kitchen game. Because even if he scores 2 8s, like, it's not going to get done. Even if he scores 18, that's going to be tied with Mike's hammer. So he still has to play aggressive. And Eric putting up a St. Pete with the hammer. And I like that. I think he's trying to bait Mike into filling in to the left of that, which Mike kind of does. Oh, no, Mike goes on the board. That's not the right shot. I think he was trying to bait Mike to filling in and then bumping his own yellow in. But instead, Mike just gives Eric a kitchen opportunity. And maybe. Oh, yeah. I can see it from here. That is 100% in. So that is 10 yellow, negative 10 black. Definitely not the right shot from Mike, giving Eric something in the kitchen there. But Mike, going at it hard, doesn't really get it. Gets that 10, though. And if I'm Eric, you are trying to kitchen this again 100%. Let's surge ahead and take this lead. A little soft. All right, a little soft. Kind of clears out a lane where Mike can clear his own out of the kitchen. But clearing something out of the kitchen is not an easy shot. All right, let's see if he gets it. He has to be so precise and shoot it really hard. I mean, Mike's good at clearing, so I kind of expect him to get it, but you never know. All right, shoots it hard. Does not get it. Does not get it. Oh, man. So as the score stands with that kitchen, black would be at 81. Yellow's at 73, so an 8 here ties it. And he that curve left at the last second, and he doesn't get it. Oh, that is so rough. That is so rough. He had the perfect frame to claw himself back in that game, and it comes down to a hammer shot, and he can't get it because of some unpredictable court drift. I called it at the jump. I calling it throughout the match. The drift on this court is completely unpredictable. Blame it on the plumes, man. All right, so 2 frames left, and yellow is down 8. Oh, this is a good one. So yellow could keep it clear and score the hammer and tie it up, but that's not what they're going to do, right? They don't want the game to be tied with black having the hammer in the final frame. They want to be up. So he's trying to put up a St. Pete. It wasn't a great St. Pete, but his thinking is put up that St. Pete and give himself something to hide behind. And let's see what Mike does. Oh, man, Mike is going dueling hides here, which is absolutely not the right strategy. He's given Eric what he wants, and A, and B, it's not hidden. I mean, Eric can kitchen that, or Eric can hide an 8 and gain 1 point on him. Oh, Eric doesn't want to go down the alley. This is kind of interesting. Oh, wow, I did not see that. That was, I don't know what that was. Eric should have went down the alley and just cleared and replaced it. Not even try to kitchen it, just clear and replace it. And instead, he's given Mike a chance to score 2. I mean, that's not like a perfect block either, but that's probably good enough. I don't know what Eric's doing right now. He also took away his chance at a cross-court hide. Instead, he's just going on, does not get it. And now Mike has a chance to block that yellow one up, make Eric have to go down the alley for a miss and lose the match type of shot. Oh, he doesn't even want to go down the alley because he knows it's so hard. He's going to go for the hero shot and bump something in. Going to bump that center yellow and try to get 18 out of it. And he misses it. Yeah, not a great frame from Eric. I mean, I get playing aggressive, but like he passed up a solid opportunity, avoiding the alley where it's unpredictable, but like that opportunity was there and it was the best path to victory. And instead of, I mean, even if he just kept it clear and scored the hammer, it would have been tied or down 1, and now he's down 13 without the hammer. And Mike is really good at clearing. So it is one of those things where like it's going to come down to how well someone clears. Eric's talking a little trash in his ear. I love it, a little gamesmanship. He's not talking trash. He's being overly nice. But you know what he's doing. He's being overly nice because he's just trying to switch something up. I do that shit sometimes. People do that shit all the time. All right, clear number 1. Doesn't get it. Eric needs to kitchen that or go down the alley. I mean, it's kind of cleared well enough, but like, I don't know. I guess if you're down 13, you might want to try to kitchen it, but I'd probably go down the alley. Going down the alley, misses to the right, and knocks Mike into the Nate. Mike, being up 13, no, sorry, being up 15, clear his zone out. Mike does not clear his zone out, which doesn't seem like it's going to be a big problem. But Eric can hide behind that. He can't really kitchen it. And he gets that one. That's good. All right, cool. So now Mike's in a little bit of trouble that he wouldn't be in if he just cleared his zone out. He has to try to knock out that yellow without knocking his zone out. Instead, he blocks it up again. Does not get it. Okay. So now Eric can just put a point on the left side and hope Mike whiffs like Eric did earlier. Oh, no, because that black's in. So it's 7-7. So, yeah, this is actually a little bit trickier than I thought. So Eric has to knock the black one into the other black one and kitchen it. Yeah, I guess that is going to get it done. Oh, wow. Oh, man, he almost got it. He was trying to score that yellow on the left and knock the black on the line, which would have been good. But it's over. All right, Mike. The move is to throw it away. Also go for the 10. You know, it's fun to go for the 10. Let's get the 10, baby. Can't drop the cherry. And Mikey wins it with an 8 for yellow and a 7 for black at the end there. So that's Mikey wins it 81-95. Wins it by 14. Incredible match. And Mike with an undefeated spring 2023 Singles League season. Yeah, he went 7-0. You know who else went 7-0? This guy. Can't see, but I'm pointing to myself. All right, thank you very much for joining us for another episode of Brooklyn Shuffleboard. I hope you found this entertaining. I definitely found this entertaining. I also hope you found this educational from a strategy perspective. We're doing these all the time. We're trying to get these Royal Palms players better at shuffleboard. I want people playing for 2 years to be beating players who've been playing for 7 years. I want us to be going to national and international tournaments and crushing everyone else, and that's what these videos are all about. So stay tuned for the next one. Peace out.